Hi! I got worried that someone would accuse me of using AI, which is something that I've been accused of before, probably because I'm not a native English speaker, so my writing style can be a bit textbook sometimes. And anyway, I decided to record myself writing just in case. For a bit of additional context, I did work in the creative writing industry as a writer for like 3 years, and I also worked professionally as an editor and translator. I have also published a few books on my own. What I'm writing here is the second book of a sci-fi/fantasy series that I started a few years back. You can get the first book of the series via my website if you want to, but you don't necessarily need to read it in order to follow this and future videos. I will add any necessary context wherever needed. Originally, I intended to write and talk at the same time, but I quickly realized that this makes focusing on writing very difficult, so ultimately I decided to record the video and do a voiceover afterwards, kinda like a sports commentator. If you are watching this, there should be a second video without commentary on my channel. I'll just add some copyright-free lofi music so you can listen to that alongside the sound of me typing without my insane rambling in the background. If you have any question about writing or working in the creative writing industry or my work in general, please drop a comment. I plan on making this a series, so I would be happy to address things in future videos. Fair heads up, I already finished the first draft of this book, but was not happy with it. So I deleted most of it and wrote the second draft, but ultimately abandoned it because I felt like it was heading into the wrong direction. So this means that what you are seeing here is technically the third draft. I'm saying technically because while I will use the previous draft for the early chapters, I will change huge parts of the story as I go on. I already made a bit of an outline what these chapters will look like, so you can see for yourself in future videos. With all of that out of the way, let's get right into it. I hope this will explain itself. So at the left side of the screen you are going to see the second draft, kind of. It's a mix of the second and the third draft, but as mentioned, I kind of abandoned it, so it's not finished. However, on the right side you can see me writing, yeah, pretty much what it says on the screen. I'm not sure if this was a good idea actually, now that I'm doing it. So yeah, earlier draft, left side, me currently writing right side. I hope it makes sense. I should also mention that I don't have any manuscript for what I'm saying. I'm literally just watching the video right now, and yeah, I'm just gonna say whatever comes to mind. It might not make much sense. I try to explain it good, but I'm not good at commentary. Okay, it starts with the prologue. Yeah, that's it. It starts with the prologue. I'm currently writing the prologue. The previous draft is very wordy. There is a lot going on, and don't judge it too harshly, cause the third draft, it's still an early stage. I will ultimately delete a lot. This is something that I've also done in the previous book. I finished the book and I thought I was done and everything was alright. I sent it to an editor, I got the book back, and I still ultimately deleted about, I think, 30,000 words. And I do fear that something similar will happen with this book here. I kind of aim for 100,000 to 200,000 word range, which I know it's a big word range, but I know I'm going to delete a lot after the editing process. So ultimately it should be around 100 to maybe 120,000 words. Maybe even less, I'm not sure yet. Only time will tell, really. Okay, the prologue starts with two of the main characters in this book kind of interacting with each other. One of them is the mother of our main character, Eddie, who will be introduced in the first chapter of this book, but you already might be familiar with her if you have read the previous book, of course. The man interviewing her is the head of the Secret Intelligence Service, and I've already told a few people the second book won't be kind of in the same... Well, I'm not sure how to explain. It's going to be fantasy and sci-fi, just like the first book, obviously. However, there is also going to be like spy elements, so there's a bit of a genre drift, and the third book will then bring more fantasy and sci-fi back, and so there will be new elements in the second book, and it's going to be a bit different than the first book, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. Oh yeah, I used the wrong word here. I used stuffier, but apparently that does not mean what I meant. What I meant was more crammed. Again, I'm not a native English speaker. I will use whatever I think sounds right for the early drafts. I'm going to edit it in a much later draft. So please don't judge my spelling or anything. It's going to be all over the place. I just really want to finish this draft, and yeah, that's my main focus for this. The spelling is not a focus in this draft. The wordiness is also not really a focus in this draft. Like, a lot of words are going to be... they're not gonna be good. I'm just gonna be honest about it. Like, it's gonna suck. It's an early draft. I just want to get the story done. And it's kind of like, if you're a writer, that's kind of what you should be focusing on. Making it sound good is a separate progress in its own, basically. And that's something that I'm going to focus on when the book is already... well, when this draft is already done. So don't worry about that. That also means that I will overuse certain words a lot. Things like he said, she said, they said, she replied, he replied, blah blah blah. You get the idea. Again, I just want to get the book done. I'm going to erase the unnecessary filler words later on. Don't worry about them. They're not gonna be in the finished product. Sometimes I get distracted and I end up editing instead of writing. I know I should not be doing this. I still end up doing it. Like, when I see a word that is really out of place, and or when I spot a typo while thinking, I'm just gonna edit it. Again, I should not be doing it. It's a bad habit. I'm also new to screen recording, so I'm sometimes checking if the recording app is working. I've never really done anything like this, so this will take a bit of trial and error, I suppose. Something that I should also mention is that my old laptop broke, and I got the second-hand MacBook 2015 for like 200 quid. I usually don't work with Apple, but the second-hand shop that I was looking at, well, the MacBook was the best one they had available, so I went for it. And I used to have Apple like as a teenager, like just an old iPhone, but that must have been like a decade ago. So I'm a bit lost when it comes to using Apple products, which you can probably see here. But yeah, I hope it works out. The book is set in London right now, in case you could not tell by the kind of British English that I have going on here. I do live in the UK right now. I'm not from here. I moved to the UK in like 2018, I think. So I like to think that I have some understanding of British English versus American English and whatnot. I try my best. I might still make mistakes, especially in the early draft. Here you can see I also have no idea how to spell mahogany. I'm not sure why I forgot about this. It should be an easy one, I'm sorry. Yeah, I write it down here as well. I'll worry about the spelling later. I do sometimes leave notes on the screen, so I remember what I was thinking about while writing it, because again, I'm doing the voiceover later on. And there is a high chance I will forget what I was thinking about while writing. This has been a major issue, like I don't even want to admit to it, it's kind of embarrassing. Sometimes I would stop writing for the day and I would completely forget where I was going with the scene. So the next day when I get back to writing, I'm just staring at it and I'm like, what the hell was I doing? Like, where is this supposed to go? What am I thinking? And anyway, I stopped doing this by taking notes. So whenever I stop writing for the day, I just leave a note like, this scene will play out in this and that way, here's the next sentence, good night, worry about it tomorrow, right? So I know where to start again if I get back to writing on the next day. Maybe something about Medea. I love her a lot. Honestly, I used to hate her and I used to hate writing her because she's very much kind of based on my biological mother. This might be oversharing it. And I really struggled writing her in the first book, but I changed her personality a lot. I made her a lot less cruel in a way. Like, she's still super mean, don't get the wrong idea. But she isn't like outright just like a monster, so it's easier for me to write. And I had to delete a lot of scenes with her that would go on very graphic descriptions of abuse that honestly I just deleted. I felt like it was just, I don't know. I used to write them. I used to write them like as a coping mechanism as a teenager, but rereading it as an adult was just kind of difficult, so I ultimately deleted them. And they also just kind of, well, without context, reading them comes across as kind of unnecessary shock value. And I know there are a lot of authors who are like really good at adding shock value into their work. I don't think I am. And I don't want my work to rely too much on shock value. It's just kind of unnecessary in my opinion. I know a lot of writers are going to disagree with that, but yeah, that's my take on it. I also fear that I will have to delete a lot of dialogue. I love writing dialogue. A lot of my writing is just dialogue. I know I can't rely on dialogue alone. But yeah, you can tell it's gonna be mostly dialogue in the first draft and the first few drafts, so to speak. I will gradually add more context and more description and more other scenes wherever needed in much later drafts. If there's any screaming in the background, I do apologize. My apartment is directly at the street, and sometimes there are people passing by at the weekend and they're just kind of unhinged. I would love to talk about the other character in this scene that is currently talking with Medea, but I do fear that if I talk too much about him, it will kind of spoil the entire plot of the book that I'm currently writing. And I don't want to do that. I hope that's okay. You will learn much more about him as we go on. He's... I don't want to say he's like the most important character in this book. I think he's either the second or third most important character in this book. I'm not fully decided. You can tell me if you want to. But yeah. I think he's a fun character to write. I have no experience when it comes to like espionage books and stuff like that. Actually, just for the sake of research, I ended up ordering a bunch of James Bond books and some other books just like as reference. There's another one I ordered. I have not read it yet. It's a bit of an old one. Hopefully it can help me with espionage. I looked into what books are recommended for spy stuff. Obviously James Bond was a big one. There is another one that I've ordered that is called John Le Carré, A Perfect Spy. I have not yet finished it. It's a big one. It's got like 600 pages. I don't really have much time right now. But yeah, hopefully I will get around to reading it and hopefully it can help me out here. Something else that I really struggle with is just dates. And I know I should probably set up a separate document just to build up a timeline. So I'm not writing, oh, she suddenly met now that it was spring, and in the next scene it's like winter or something. But my dates are constantly changing in the early drafts. So I don't want to set up a timeline just right now. I will probably create a timeline, like a coherent timeline, in a later draft. As of now, that's not really my focus. And whether or not it's November or October or December, it doesn't really matter much right now. It might matter later on. So yeah, ignore the constantly changing dates. It's not gonna be relevant right now. Sisyphus is an institute where Medea works at, and it's a pun, obviously, but it's also an acronym, and it stands for Cosmic Interstellar... Oh, I just forgot. I have to look it up again, I forgot. It was a great acronym. Cosmic Interstellar... Goodness, what was the... Oh. Institute of Planetary... Oh. Hold on. Cosmic Interstellar... I totally forgot what the second C was. This is embarrassing. Forget I've said anything, I'm sorry. You will know what the acronym stands for if you've read the first book. Which, again, you don't necessarily need to read it to know what's going on here. It will make sense. I'm going to talk about the additional context as needed. And at the end of the day, this isn't like a super serious video series or anything. It's mostly for documentation, just in case someone accuses me of AI, which I would not be surprised by, to be honest. People are constantly pointing fingers at artists and writers these days, and as someone who is doing both, it's a mess. It's really a mess. Okay, so he is asking about the tragedy of the Great Fire in 2039. If you want context for that, I have none. I just made that one up. I'm not sure. I feel like there should be more world building. So I added the Great Fire of 2039. Maybe this will become relevant in a future book or future chapter or anything. As of now, I don't know. I just added it for world building. Also, yes, Medea is a walking mad scientist stereotype, but look, I love science. I love everything about it. I'm a huge fan of biology, like as a whole, which is what Medea is working in. She's technically a molecular biologist, which I've been reading about a lot, not only because of her, but also because lots of reasons. But I do have a soft spot for the mad scientist stereotype, even though it's stupid. I know it's stupid, it's cheesy, it's overdone, I know, but I don't know, I just like it. I'm sorry, let me have that, please. Something I should perhaps also mention is that Medea and Mr. J have met before. This will explain later, so I suppose that was a bit of a spoiler. Kind of. It's very minor, it's nothing too serious. If you're reading along on the screen, which, to be honest, I don't expect anyone to do, I should probably say what I'm writing here. If you are reading along, you can tell that there's a lot of Medea said, Medea replied, Mr. J confirmed, blah blah blah. Again, don't pay it any attention. I know it sucks. It's a first draft. Well, it's an early draft, so it will suck. But that's what early drafts are here for. They're just here to be shit. That's okay. I kind of wish I could fast forward this part, because again, they're just talking, there's not much going on. They're just pointing fingers at each other right now for the fire that was started at the Institute. If you want to know who set the fire, you will have to wait. Well, the fire does happen at the end of book 1, for a bit of context. And basically the main character was locked inside by Medea, who is her mother, and with the help of some other people, the main character managed to escape, but the institute was set on fire by one of the people who got the main character out. Again, who set the fire is not yet really established, so yeah, stay tuned for that. So here's some info dump by Medea about Sisyphus being the most important research institute in the world, which is just added for the audience to know about it, I guess, in case you missed that one in the first book. So yeah, Sisyphus is the most important research institute in this world. It's kind of set in an alternate universe. Like, there are a lot of things, historical and geographical, that kind of overlap with our quote-unquote actual world, I suppose. For example, England and other countries will be mentioned. However, it's kind of like an alternate universe. So, for example, Europe had a Great War, kind of the equivalent of the First World War in our world. And afterwards, Europe was changed into the United Republic of Sidonia, which I only picked because I really like Muse, and they have a song called Knights of Sidonia, which I thought is really amazing. You should check that song out. It's one of my favorites. And I really like the word Sidonia, and apparently I forgot what it meant. It meant something. I thought it made sense. So I used Sidonia for Europe instead, and you can tell there are like some other minor changes, since obviously at the end of the day it's a fantasy book. And I'm not a historian or a politician or anything, so I don't want it to be like too accurate to our world, since this will just lead to me embarrassing myself, because I have no idea about any of those things. So I'm just kind of making it up as I go. If you have any questions about the world building in general, please let me know in the comments. Again, I would love to talk more about it, which is another reason I've decided to make this video series in that way, like with the whole narration and stuff. I'm not sure if it's like cringe or not, but yeah, I just felt like doing it. Oh yeah, so Medea is upset about the fire because obviously a lot of her maybe questionable research was just destroyed in it. Specifically her research about the Fae. Basically there are fairies in this world. I should maybe, it sounds weird. Maybe I should point out they're not like fairies, like small little winged creatures, but I'm talking about like the OG fairies, right? Like the ones who eat your face and stuff like that. And they kind of showed up because after the war in the world, the environment was badly destroyed, and they're kind of just running out of space to live in. So they're showing up more and more. Obviously humans are quite unhappy about this. This isn't supposed to be like an allegory for racism or anything like that. I do worry that people might think it is. It's not. It's more about the destruction of nature and fast advancing progress, and the benefits, but also the damages that it can cause. Kind of. So the Fae are more an allegory of nature. So it's more like nature versus progress and stuff like that. I hope that makes sense. I'm just rambling at this point, I apologize. Where was I going with this? Okay, so Medea is doing a lot of research on the biology of Fae, because as of now they just kind of showed up and they are very secluded from humans. And yeah, they don't really like to talk about the biology, specifically their blood, because there are some humans who realize that they can harvest the blood of the Fae, and it will crystallize into a metal which is not indestructible, but it can be used for weapons and for killing more Fae, and for lots of other fancy gadgets, which Medea is super interested in, which already has been established in book 1. So yeah, she is interested in the biology of the Fae and their blood specifically. Mr. J, he's not. That's all I'm gonna say. He's not. So yeah, in book 1, Medea, like, she started out somewhat mentally stable, but as the book went on and on and on, she's just gradually been losing it more and more and more. So at this point, she's just really full of paranoia, and everyone's out to get her, and blah, blah, blah. It was almost tragic to write. I'm saying almost because, I mean, again, I love her, but I love to hate her, so... Ignore the sirens in the background. Again, there's a lot going on the street, I apologize. Yeah, Medea, I love to hate her, but I still hate her. I love her as a villain kind of way. And I mean, she's like, obviously, she's so manipulative. If you've read book one, you get what I'm saying. If not, just take my word for it. She's manipulative. I had a great time writing her manipulate the audience, not just like the characters, but also the reader reading it. And not to brag too much or anything, but all the people who read this book, all 10 people, I think, said that they really hated Medea in the end just because of the whole gaslighting thing, which means that I did a great job, so I'm super happy about it. So yeah, Medea is establishing that she's the chief scientific officer. She kind of lost that job a while, like years back, but she recently got it again. And this time she very much does not want to lose that job, because while being chief scientific officer of Sisyphus, she can basically finance as much of her own research as she wants. And that's kind of the main thing she's interested in, right? Like just financing her own research project. It's expensive. She's running out of money, and her family used to be royalty, but after the war in, well, back then Europe, now Sidonia, she was forced to strip off any title, and she also lost a lot of wealth because of it. Because not only she, but also her entire family was kind of, stripped of their titles, had to sell a lot of their fortune, and they're broke right now. And she's not happy about that. Yeah, so she noticed that the research destroyed was all relating to Faye, so she suspects that they had something to do with that. I can't really say right now if they did or did not have something to do with it. Well, not without spoiling like the entire thing. So I think I'm just not gonna comment on that one. Oh yeah. I'm looking up words again. I keep forgetting words. That's probably because I'm writing usually late at night. It's a bit weird, but I can write better when I am very tired. As in, I stop overthinking and I actually get things done. However, this also means that the writing is not really good. Again, I will do the editing process later on, so it does not have to be good, and I just focus on getting things done, but it does make for a bit of awkward prose every once in a while. Since, yeah, writing with like half of your vocabulary is not really good. I think I just paused to pull out my phone and pull out the dictionary or something. Probably, or a translator. Sometimes I also remember words either in German or in English, but not the other language, so I just translate them on my phone. I don't know if I should cut this part. There are like a lot of pauses where I just look stuff up and sometimes I get distracted. I think in the next recording there's like a 10-minute pause because I just forgot to put pause the video recording, so it's just 10 minutes of nothing. And on one hand, I kind of do want to delete those pauses, obviously. On the other, I think it kind of defeats the purpose of recording in real life. Also, yes, there was just a gigantic pop-up about the app telling me I should use AI and upgrade the app. Obviously, I'm not going to. I don't feel like I have to elaborate on that. I used to write on Word, but again, this is an Apple computer, and the best app that was free that I could find for writing was WPS AI or WPS Office. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Like, the app itself is good, but it's constantly telling me to upgrade and to use AI, which obviously defeats the purpose. If you can recommend any app that does not constantly push AI into your face, please let me know. Just please keep in mind that this is a very old laptop. It's a MacBook Pro 2015, so not every app is going to work. But honestly, I prefer writing on a really bad laptop, because I know if I would have a good laptop, I would just get distracted a lot and I would end up playing video games instead of writing. And I already struggle with procrastinating too much. I suspect I might have ADHD. I'm not diagnosed with it. I don't know. If I could get a therapist and he would say, "Oh yeah, you probably have ADHD," I would not be surprised. But yeah, again, I'm not diagnosed or anything, but I do get distracted a lot. And on other days, I do have moments in which I just kind of really focus on it. And I remember while working in the creative writing industry, at some point, I genuinely, unironically, I don't even know how I did it, I wrote 36 hours in one go, without any break at all. And I don't know how I did it, but I remember for the rest of the week I was genuinely sick just because of it. I don't know how I did that. I do not recommend writing 36 hours in one go without break. Genuinely, don't do this to yourself. I don't care how much you hate yourself. You do not hate yourself that much, I promise you. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I will never do again. I want to be very clear in that. So yeah, Mr. J is saying that he is not accusing her and blah blah blah. And now he's accusing her because, well, why not? I will probably shorten this segment while editing. It does feel like it's dragging a bit on for longer than necessary. However, once the draft is done, I'm going to put it aside just for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before getting to the editing process. The first editing round I will do on my own. Afterwards, hopefully I will have enough money to hire a professional editor who is not biased about the book. And afterwards I will do basically a final cleaning, so to speak, where I'm just gonna see if like what editing parts I agree with, which ones I disagree with, any necessary deleting or rephrasing, stuff like that. And then I hopefully can publish it by, I don't want to say by next year. I do aim to get everything done this year and send it to an editor still this year. I don't know if that's realistic because the past few months have been really a lot rougher than I expected, so it kind of slowed down my writing process, which was very unexpected, but it cannot be helped. I still hope that I at least get this draft done by the end of this year and send it to an editor so that I can get the edited manuscript back around spring or before spring, so that I can publish it, hopefully, and I don't want to make any promises yet, next summer. Question mark. Again, I'm not gonna promise anything, but that's like my current goal that I have set. Not a promise, just a goal. So yes, Medea's co-workers were with her at the time of the fire. One you may remember if you've read book 1. If not, his name is Joshua. And he is actually based on a real biologist that I've met once. And I remember, man, he was so cool. I loved him. I remember him. We met while working in an office job. And okay, maybe I should rephrase it. Like, he is not completely based on him, but his, like, appearance is based on him, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, Joshua's appearance is very much based on a biologist who I've met. Unfortunately, I had to change his personality a lot, because I remember, quote-unquote, real Joshua. He was just really fucking funny, and there are already like 2 comic relief characters in book 1, so I could not have another comic relief character. But yeah, if you're reading Joshua, if you're reading about Joshua, just so you know, I don't know why I mentioned this, but yeah, that much to that. I wish I could have kept him funny. It would have been so great. Sometimes I have to make changes that I don't necessarily agree with, just because they will ultimately make more sense, like in the final product, so to speak. Joshua not being funny in the book was definitely one of those changes. Something else is... I had to tone down Medea a lot, because I've mentioned it before, I hated writing her parts. To a point where I would just procrastinate all the scenes with her because I did not want to write them at all. So I toned her down a lot, which... If I would rewrite the first book, maybe I would make it differently. But there are like a few scenes that are just genuinely so dark, and the book series, there are parts that will get quite dark, but Medea was, it was just a bit too much. Like, there's one scene where she just kind of kicks the main character down the stairs and beats into her, and I just thought it was a bit too much. So yeah, that was another change I've made. Something I've also changed is that the main character's brother, he was a bit of a Gary Stu in the original draft. I changed it, so now he's still basically the same, but he's a bit of a spoiled whiny brat, kind of. I thought it just kind of makes sense because, well, there used to be aristocracy or royalty, basically, kind of, and he was like the golden child, and it just made sense to have him be a bit, well, not obnoxious. He is not obnoxious, but whiny. He's a bit whiny, you know. I think that's okay. So yeah, about the current draft, I'm currently writing about something about the way Mr. J spoke aggravated Medea. The mix of smugness, arrogance, and feigned obliviousness felt almost familiar. Now I wonder if this is a hint or something. So yes, they've met before, and no, Medea does not recognize him. It's been a few years. More than a few years. I can't say too much without spoiling the entire plot. There will be minor spoilers, obviously, as we go along. Like, there's no way of avoiding spoilers while I'm literally writing in real time. But I try to keep them at a minimum, just in case you actually want to read the book. I don't know if you do. I mean, if you want to, sure. No pressure or anything. You can download the first 3 chapters of the first book via my website for free if you just want to check it out before committing to an actual purchase. I know everything is too expensive right now, like no one can afford anything, it's genuinely insane. But I also have an ebook available, which is like free quid if you wanna check out the... I'm sorry for the promoting. I just wanted to have it mentioned. I apologize. Again, no pressure. I don't want to become like one of those people who just have like 50% of their video be promotions or anything like that. I hate it so much. I've unsubscribed so many YouTubers just because they just kept promoting the dumbest things. Sorry. I'm kind of sinking into my couch here, I apologize. Yeah, I unsubscribe a lot of them, especially the ones who kept promoting BetterHelp, because I kept seeing it, and I would like to go into therapy, but I know it's a scam, so seeing it is just kind of upsetting. Sorry, I went way off the track here. Oh yeah, Medea just made a valid point, which is that it would have taken her an hour to go to the wing, start the fire, and then go back to her laboratory, without anyone noticing in 10 minutes. Obviously, she's right, that's not possible. And something else I should mention is that Medea, despite being generally unhinged, she does have a lot of good points. She's not stupid. I don't want her to be stupid. I want her to be a genuine threat and genuinely smart and cunning and strategic. I don't want her to be... I don't know. I don't want her to be some half-assed villain who is just, you know... I hope that makes sense. Oh yeah, Mr. J knows this, by the way. He knows it's not possible for Medea to set the fire. He's just accusing her because he does not like her and likes to take the piss and mess around. There will be context later. I suppose it sounds weird to just have like the head of the Secret Intelligence Service fuck around with some random scientist for no reason. It will make sense, okay? I promise it will make sense. Medea continues to say that no, it's impossible, and she does wonder if he's an idiot. Then again, she does wonder that about pretty much everyone she meets, so that does not say much. At the time of recording, by the way, I've already recorded the next 2 chapters. I'm not really certain about the uploading schedule. I was thinking maybe 1 per week or maybe 2 chapters per week. Originally, I thought of doing 1 chapter per day and uploading it in 1 large video at the end of the week. But I don't think anyone will watch like a 7-hour video of me just talking about my book and writing. I don't think that makes much sense, does it? So yeah, I think I'll do it chapter by chapter. So the video that you're watching right now is just a prologue, and the next video will be chapter 1, and the one after that will be chapter 3, and so on and so forth. If you would like to see chapter 1 and would like me to answer any questions in the comments, please consider subscribing if you feel like it. I would love to do that more often. I do think it's fun, like recording and talking and stuff like that. It's just not something that necessarily comes easy to me, so without being motivated, it feels like a bit difficult. Hopefully I will get used to it eventually as we go on. I also plan on uploading more videos about my artwork, if you're interested in that. So yeah. Oh yeah, I just wrote something that made no sense whatsoever. I wrote Medea talking about her not having much time to... sorry. I'm staring at the screen and talking at the same time. I wrote that Medea is talking about how she... I should just read it, shouldn't I? Okay. Medea is saying, again, no, I did not. Oh, I was in my lab. It is not as if I have much time to pay any attention to whoever is running around in the hallways, so if someone was heading there, I wouldn't have noticed. Which, funny enough, contradicts literally like 2 sentences before what I wrote, which is like, oh no, I definitely know everything and I would notice everything. So yeah, obviously that does not work. So if you're watching the video, you can tell I'm currently kind of undecided which one makes more sense and which sentence I should keep. Like, did she notice? Does she notice everything? Does she notice nothing? So yeah, that's what I'm currently writing. Yes, so ultimately I decided she would not have noticed anyone sneaking around because she, unlike everyone else of course, is actually working. At least if you would ask her. I don't think she's working more than anyone else. I think everyone is claiming they work more than anyone else. At least in this context, I mean. I'm not saying this is a real life actual observation or anything, just like in the context of the book. They're all working really hard. They all think they're working harder than the other. They're kind of stressed right now. Medea is also kind of stressed, but Medea is also always kind of stressed. So yeah, Mr. J is still messing around and he's acting like he's not sure if he can believe her or not. Technically, he knows Medea couldn't have set the fire. Maybe he will accuse her of it later again. Maybe not. I'm a bit undecided how this is going to go. Because obviously Medea needs to... We need to get rid of Medea in this book, and this will happen one way or another. Kind of, in a way. Not spoiling everything. And I think Mr. J accusing her of setting the fire just to get rid of her, it would make sense. But I think it would be very anticlimactic, because Medea is the villain to the main character, and obviously Medea just being disposed via some Deus ex machina by some, well, not unrelated third party, but by someone else that's not the main character. Again, it would make sense, but it's just very anticlimactic, because what's the point of her being a villain to the main character if someone else just gets rid of her for the main character? It's just dumb writing. So yeah, maybe he will accuse her again later on, but I don't think much will come from that. And it still makes sense, because he's messing around a lot. He's not taking media as seriously as other people are. And generally speaking, he is not taking much seriously. And there are reasons for this, which will be explained later on, but again, I don't want to spoil too much. So yeah, I'm currently describing the day in London. Medea looked over to the window as well. It was a beautiful sunny day in London. The city looked a bit better here, though it was still mostly ruins and bombed houses. So for a bit of additional context, much of the country and the rest of Europe, of course, was bombed after the war. And although it has been a few years after the war, there is a lot of tension, like political tension right now. And people anticipate another war soon, so no one is really fixing up many things, and no one wants to be in charge of the government either, because people anticipate a war. Kind of like, think of the area between the First World War and the Second World War, where everyone's just kind of like, okay, now what? And everyone's just kind of like terrified. It's kind of, well, not based on that, but it's kind of resembling that, I suppose. Yeah, there, I wrote it. The threat of the war was still imminent, but distracting oneself from this seemed the best course of action for the I apologize. Seemed the best course of action for the citizens these days. I apologize, I've been talking for about 1 hour right now. I'm not used to talking this much, so I'm starting to lose my voice. I don't know how much I can record in one setting. I think I just keep it at this part, and we'll get to recording the next part within the next like 2 or 3 days, maybe? I don't know. I will need to check how much time I have, and I will adjust my schedule accordingly. Oh yeah, so Mr. Che is here saying, well, I'm technically not allowed to talk about this, so... But if, hypothetically only, of course, you're right about the Fae, and the fire was started by them, and blah blah blah. So he's saying he's not allowed to talk about it, but he would be. I'm not sure why he's saying that. I guess he just likes being dramatic. He can talk about whatever he wants. Literally no one is stopping him. Genuinely. I absolutely hate this sentence. Medea's eyes widened in shock as realization hit her. It's just so generic. There is no way Yeah, no, I'm gonna edit or delete this later. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yes, so Medea thinks that someone must have told the Fae where they can find the information about the research that has been done. Only that way they could go to that part of Sisyphus and set it on fire. Mr. J claims that this is bullshit because, well, it's kind of bullshit. I really wish I could talk about who set the fire, but that would be spoilers. Too many spoilers, I mean. Yeah, this is another sentence that I really hate. Medea's thin lips vanished as she pushed them together. I'm not sure why, it just reads as such a generic line that you can find in pretty much every book. And I'm not saying there is necessarily something wrong with it, obviously, right? If it would be a bad line, obviously no one would have it in their book. So I'm not judging people for using it, and again, you can tell I'm using it myself here. However, I don't know, it always kind of takes me out of the writing. So I will have to edit this later on, I think. There isn't really a way of avoiding every line that I don't like, just because there would be too many. But I hope I can find a better way of phrasing that later on, one that is less overused. Oh, Detective Medea is on the case. Yeah, no. No, she's not. Sorry. I genuinely think Detective Medea would make for an amazing book series. She would not solve any case, but she would think she would. It would be hilarious. I would love that. Man, I should be taking notes here. Yeah, Mr. J is the voice of reason. Perhaps we should consider the more likely option before accusing anyone, and if Faye had nothing to do with it. Which just seems more realistic. I absolutely hate that he is being the voice of reason. He's not. Usually. Normally. Often. I don't know. I would not trust him with anything. He's just so shady. It's not even his fault, I think. Yes, I can tell my battery is running out. Ignore that. I feel like maybe I should speed up the finished video. I'm also right now pausing for some reason. I'm not sure how long I'm going to pause here. Sometimes while writing I would just stop everything and get something to drink, get some more coffee, go to the bathroom, call my friends to procrastinate, just like whatever that is not writing. So there might be a few pauses, and honestly I feel like maybe I should delete them. Even though I feel like that would be cheating, kind of. Like, it's not writing in real life if I just delete parts of the footage, right? Oh, I'm back to writing. Okay, that was not too bad of a pause. I probably just got something to drink here, I don't remember. In any case, if you think I should delete the pauses, let me know. If you think I should keep them, also let me know. I would love to have some feedback on this, because I don't know. Personally, I would just not delete them because I'm a perfectionist, and I feel like deleting them would kind of, yeah, again, it would go against the purpose of writing in real time. Medea claims that she knows everyone working at the institute. I don't even think that's a lie. She is very well connected. She also claims she knows all their intentions and what they're up to. I disagree with that one heavily. But she is right that they would have much to lose. Like, if someone would set a fire, it would destroy years of their research. She is right, no one would want to do that, technically. But Mr. J also is right when he says that Medea is too trusting when it comes to her co-workers. Kind of. Yeah, he's saying, you don't know what sacrifices someone would make to obtain their own goals. And obviously, Medea, who did sacrifice a lot, or at least she thinks she sacrificed a lot, she does not like to hear that. But who would? Let's be real. Yes, so Medea is saying that he is insulting her, and she would be right. Don't feel bad for her. You're not gonna feel bad for her if you've read book 1. I mean, can I spoil book 1? I don't know. I might talk about more spoilers in book 1 at a later part of this series. I should probably keep the spoilers for book 1 right now also to a minimum, just in case you actually want to read it. Again, I am super biased, but I like to think that I can't even speak anymore, I apologize. I like to think that I did a good job. After all, I've been thinking about this whole series for like years, and for the longest time I was too scared of actually writing it down in a coherent series and publishing it. But I'm at a point where I think, if something would happen to me, and I'm knocking on wood here, obviously, but if I would not have finished that series, I don't think I could die at peace, genuinely. I think I came up with Adrastea back in 2011, and back then it was just writing like short stories and short adventures while being hospitalized to like distract myself. I had a lot going on at the time. I don't mean to complain too much, like it's okay right now. It's been like 14 years, 15 years now. It's really time to move on and everything. But I've been thinking about this series for 15 years and about the characters, so obviously I really feel like I have to share this, even though there is a high chance that no one will like it. Okay, maybe not a high chance, but there is a fair chance that no one will like it and no one except me is going to care about this. Which would be fair, right? Like, I can't force anyone to enjoy my writing. And I can't write assuming that anyone will care about this world and these characters as much as I do. And I think, as writers, we should not be focusing on writing to appease other people. Or at least I've come to realize that over the past few years. Because there are so many people in this world, and you can't influence someone to think a certain way about a certain thing. I mean, you can try, obviously, but at the end of the day, there will be people who are not going to like this. There are also going to be people who are not going to like this video format. There are also people who are not going to like me as a person, and if you want to put yourself out there in any way, shape or form, if it comes to art or writing or anything else, I think that's just something that you need to come to terms with, obviously, because otherwise you will have a difficult time. And yeah, I'm at a point where I just kind of, well, not realized this. I've realized this ages ago, but I'm at a point where the need to share my books and my story here, especially Adrastea. I've written a bunch of other fantasy books, but they were mostly... Well, don't get me wrong, I like them, they're okay, but I'm not as attached to them as to this series. Goodness, where was I going with this? I'm sorry. um, yes, I am at the point where the need to share this story in particular, including the 5 books in it, outweighs my anxiety of what other people are going to think about it. So I'm going to work on publish all parts. Again, the first one is published, this one is the second one. There are 3 left, and I pretty much already have like outlined all of them. They are nowhere near done, don't get the wrong idea, but I have a rough outline of the whole story and where it's supposed to go and how it's supposed to end. I'm in particular fond of book 4. I'm trying to think about spoilers to avoid here. It's going to be the darkest part of the series. Like, incredibly dark, to a point where I think there will be a censored and an uncensored version, just in case, if someone wants to read either of those. It will be dark, yeah. Sorry, I went way off the track here. I should probably get back to talking about the video that I'm currently recording instead. As you can see, they are still talking. Medea is upset. Mr. J laughs at her, kind of. Which is fair. He is not scared of her. Lots of other people are, but he is not. He's not scared of anything, actually. I don't think he would care if he would die or not. He doesn't seem like the type of person that has too many attachments to other people's lives or his own life. This will make sense later on, I promise. Oh yeah, so Medea is saying that Mr. J is seems more interested in her research than her setting the fire or not, and she is asking how this comes. Now, Mr. J claims that she is being paranoid, of course. He is only asking because he needs to get as much information as possible to solve this case. Which is bullshit. He is definitely more interested in Medea's research than this case. He does not care about some random fire in some institute, even if it's the most important institute in this world. He does not care about any of that. And the reason I describe it like Mr. J's expression hardened, you're being paranoid, blah blah blah, is because he's genuinely, because Mr. J is genuinely upset that Medea would accuse him of that because she is actually correct with it. He is more interested in her research. He just does not want her to know about this because obviously that if she wouldn't notice and stop talking, that would make his job a bit more difficult. There are reasons why he is interested in her research, which will be explained later on. There's actually a lot going on in this book, and I generally consider to maybe write an additional standalone part with some of the scenes that I know I will have to scratch because they are not exactly needed for the plot, but I still like them. I'm not sure if that would be worth it or not. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I will have to think about it. Yes, so Medea is asking how this information is relevant. Mr. J is not answering the question because obviously it's not relevant. Medea is laughing because she's losing it, and it's like, are you serious right now? You're asking me the same questions again? As I said, no, there were no flammable substances present at the time. Can I leave now? Which is fair, like, she isn't wrong with it. I don't like her, but I gotta admit when she's right. I just know that people who know me in real life will claim that the main character is a self-insert. It's not. She's a character that I made up just to like talk with, basically, by being hospitalized. And I hate to admit this, like I genuinely do. I think I have more in common with Medea than with the main character. And I hate it so much. She's not good, but like, she doesn't. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not saying I'm as unhinged as her, obviously, but she's very much a control freak, and she does not like losing control at all. And I feel like I relate too much to this, or more than I would like to admit. Does anyone want to admit that? I mean, oh well. So whenever there are scenes with Medea, I relate to her, I just get mad at myself. Does that make sense? I don't know. Oh yeah, so Mr. J, after saying, oh, I'm not accusing her, blah blah blah, he goes now on to accuse her again. Probably just to get her all riled up, I don't know. Maybe. Do you know of anyone working at Sisyphus who would start a fire and be interested in blaming the Fae for it? Well, do we know anyone? Anyone who is working closely with their blood. Again, the blood being helilite, which is explained in the previous book, which I think I've already mentioned it, turns to a metal, which is like the biological part of the Fae that Medea is the most interested in. Like, she's also interested in other stuff that they're doing and everything, but the blood of the Fae is kind of like the most important part right now. And it's also kind of the most important element of the Fae throughout the series, in a way. Kind of, like it's a recurring motif. Yeah, so Medea thought for a moment, but then shook her head. The implication was clear, but she thought she'd misheard. Are you certain, Doctor? Yeah, maybe I should also mention, this has been explained in the previous book. The family is... In this alternate universe, there was the Austro-Hungarian Empire, led by the House of Habsburg, obviously, and in this alternate universe, the House of Habsburg was destroyed and replaced with Medea's family. But yeah, that much to that. So there are some similarities, is what I'm saying, but they're not the same in a way. It will be explained later. I'm not even sure how important it is to mention that. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, we are done with the prologue, and it only took 80 minutes. Wow. I apologize, I still need to get used to talking in real time. or at all, really. I'm not the most talkative person. I assume I will get used to it over time. If you do have any advice or any feedback, let me know in the comments. If there's anything about writing or about creating or about art or about writing or painting in times of AI or just generally, please let me know in the comment section. I would love to interact more with people. I think what made the internet as great as it was just like the sudden amount of connection that it enabled. Unfortunately, as soon as money was introduced, it became less about connecting with people and more about making as much money as possible. And I really do think that we should bring the whole connection part back in a way, because I know we're still connecting as creators and everything. I don't mean to dismiss this by saying, oh, everything's worse right now, blah, blah, blah. I don't mean this at all. What I mean is that we should put more emphasis on the connecting part without the whole capitalize everything you can to make as much as you can and look as perfect as you can and all that kind of stuff. Which also brings me to, I know this video is a mess, I know I'm a mess. That's okay, I'm not trying to present myself in the most polished way imaginable here. I'm just talking and recording, that's all I'm doing. And at the end of the day, I'm not an influencer, I don't plan on becoming an influencer. I'm a writer and an artist, and that's what I would like to focus on. So that's what this channel will be about, I suppose. I hope all of that made sense. If you can tell, I'm already quite sore from talking too much. So the video is done. I'm done recording. And I'm going to call it a day. I hope you enjoyed the first part of the video. If you're still watching this, maybe write something completely unrelated in the comment section if you're still listening to this. Something completely random, something with like, I don't know. I love purple applesauce. I am so glad we invented it. I don't know, something super random, just to know just so that I know people are actually still listening to this. It can be anything though, that was just one example. Anyway, if you are still listening to this, I hope I see you in the next video. And if not, well, still, take care. Bye everyone.